Doc on the Run. We help injured runners run.
Now, the third mistake is to train hard. Now, the overwhelming majority of runners who call me for help, either through a phone consultation or a webcam visit, all are serious runners with normal jobs. I mean, I treat some, professional athletes or serious elite athletes who are sponsored and so on. But when I say serious runner, this does not mean that you're a professional athlete or that you're an Olympic athlete. It doesn't mean that you're a marathon champion. It just means that you consistently have been running and you still consistently run. You've been running for a long time and you take your running seriously. But you're busy. You have a lot of commitments. You have work. You have to take care of your kids. And you have to do it in the same 24 hours as everyone else. Well, I believe right now there's an overwhelming temptation for runners like you who are forced to work from home or who have been placed on some kind of restriction. It actually leaves you bored and with an enormous amount of free time as compared to your usual schedule. Most hardworking athletes would look at this as an opportunity to take advantage and build massive fitness in the free time available. But I contend that this is a huge mistake. One of the best episodes of the Doc on the Run podcast is an episode where I got to sit down and talk to six-time Ironman world champion Mark Allen. It's Doc on the Run podcast episode number 225. You should definitely check it out. But long before anti-gravity treadmills, carbon fiber bike frames, power meters, cadence sensors, any of that stuff, Mark Allen was winning Ironman world championships, and he was helping other athletes figure out how to succeed. Now, years ago, he explained to me that one of the biggest keys to success in any endurance sport is avoiding injury or illness. If you get sick or injured, you lose all of your fitness while you're recovering. Game over. All runners are worried about things like stress fractures or some kind of other injury that's going to set them on the sidelines. But when you train hard, your immune system gets overworked by repairing all of that tissue. And when your immune system gets depressed and you've been training at your limit, you're simply more susceptible to illness. I got pneumonia right before I left for Ironman Hawaii to compete in the Ironman World Championships. So after 9 years of trying to qualify for Ironman Hawaii, this was a rather inconvenient time to get sick. And I would argue that right now, with the certain but undetectable spread of this pandemic around us, now would be a very inconvenient time to get sick for you as well. I know it's going to be tempting to train hard in the time you have available right now, but you need to resist that temptation. You need to figure out how you can run and avoid exposure and decrease your risk of contracting the virus, or at least decrease the severity of that illness when you get infected, if you do get infected. But I think almost as important is making sure that your immune system is as robust as possible. And this means decreasing stress. Of all the 12 different forms of stress I discuss that might affect your body's capacity to heal and fight off disease, I believe that when you run, you actually improve about half of them. So I believe that running will actually help you decrease your stress as long as it's done in moderation. If you're training for a marathon that was just canceled, moderation truly may be you going out to run 18 miles. But if your longest run in the last couple of months was only 8 miles, you probably shouldn't go run 18 miles today just because you have the time. Now, you have to decide what is moderate for you. All runners know how much is too much. All runners know how we can tell and feel that we're pushing too hard. And I would argue that now is not the time to push hard. This is a time when you should maintain your fitness and maintain your sanity by choosing safe, reasonable runs. And don't ever forget, running is only one form of stress. Running is biomechanical stress, but there are many other forms of stress that can influence your capacity to absorb injury and fight off illness. So I've created a free worksheet for you that can help you to assess those 12 forms of stress that can slow a runner's recovery. And frankly, I think it might also make you, a little more susceptible to contracting an illness or potentially suffering a more severe illness once contracted. So go to docontherun.com. You can go to the show notes page for this particular episode and download it. It'll help you work through a series of questions to ask yourself if you want to decrease the overall amount of stress in your system that can help you recover faster after runs and hard workouts. So in short, keep running, but do it safely. Be reasonable. And if you think of all this stuff that I just talked about as alarmist, remember, just because you're paranoid, it doesn't mean they're not after you.
Doc on the Run. We help injured runners run.